All right, we're going to be in lesson 2.1 today. It's on writing and interpreting equations. We're going to get into here module 2, in which we're going to do a lot of equation solving, some of the basic fundamentals of that. But today we're going to just really work on translating numerical sentences into written sentences and vice versa. Uh, so it's more of a understanding of the basic makeup of the equations and how we can express them rather than it is solving today. Okay, so first of all, we start with the concept of what is an equation. All right, an equation is a mathematical statement. It contains two expressions and an equal sign. So now what we're looking at, up till now, we had just been working with expressions, which is just a collection of variables, numbers, and operations. Now we're taking those expressions and we're setting them equal to each other. So I got an expression on the left side of the equal sign, an expression on the right side of the equal sign. And our job is going to be to figure out what that missing value is. Okay, whenever they talk about a constraint, all right, a constraint is a condition that a solution has to satisfy. So when we're working with equations, we have to think of possible constraints. And typically, guys, this is when we deal with a real life situation type equation. All right, then we got to think about what constraints are there. And this can be a variety of different ideas. One would be, for instance, if you're finding the average number of people in a room, you can't have a decimal or a fraction of a person. So you'd have to go to the nearest whole person rather than giving a decimal answer. So it's things like that that you may come across. We won't see a lot of it yet, but we will as we move forward and start applying our equations to real life situations. Okay, this is the kind of stuff you're going to see tonight. So write an equation for this sentence. 4 times a number less 10 is equal to 16. So if we look at the key parts of this, 4 times a number, so it's 4 multiplied by a number is our variable. So we'll put, and it doesn't matter what variable you choose, x, y, m, k, just a variable, less 10. So that means we're going to take 10 away from this product. Is typically our equal sign, is equal to 16. So it's going to look like this: 4 times a number less 10. So take away 10 is equal to 16. Very straight translation there. Another one: 20 minus the quotient of 7 and x is the same as twice x. All right, so let's kind of take it in pieces here. 20 minus, so we know it's going to be 20, and then a minus sign. The quotient of 7 and x. That means that we want this quotient, which is a division problem. The answer to this division problem is going to be taken away from 20. So this needs to be grouped together. The quotient of, so I got to group this together, that's our equal sign, the same as twice x. So twice x means 2 times x. Okay, so if we write this out, it's going to look like this: 20 minus the quotient of. So that what that's telling us is we want to take 7 divided by x and then subtract it from 20. So by writing it as a fraction like this, remember a fraction really is grouping symbols, numerator, denominator. So we are grouping it here, and then is 2x. So we're going to write some sentences like this tonight. You'll have to, work your way through these. Be careful with the terminology and the language involved. Okay, E2 has read 12 of 32 chapters in his assigned book. He plans to finish the book by reading C chapters a day for 8 days until the book is due. Which equation best represents the situation? Okay, now if he's going to read C chapters a day for 8 days, then we should understand that 8 times C is the number of chapters he's going to read in 8 days. Okay, he's already read 12, and there's a total of 32. Okay, so what we know is our 8C plus our 12 should get us all 32 chapters. So if you look up here, okay, our only choice is here. 8 times C, add 12 to that should equal the 32 chapters in the book. Okay, just got to reason your way through it. Okay, plain and cinnamon raisin bagels are the most popular flavors. Each year, 24 million more than twice as many packages of plain bagels are sold as cinnamon raisin. There were 136 million packages of bagels sold last year. Choose all equations that can be used to find the number of millions of packages of cinnamon raisin bagels sold last year. Okay, ooh, they give us 6 choices. Okay, so let's go back and kind of reread this. So, okay, it tells us C is the number sold last year. Choose all equations that can be used to find the number of millions. All right, so C is the number of cinnamon raisins sold last year. And we know there were 24 million, more than twice as many plain bagels as cinnamon. All right. So as you look at that, what we're saying here is if we double the cinnamon and add 24, that equals the total bagels sold last year. Okay, total plain bagels sold last year. Okay, so they sold 136 million plain bagels. We sold, or they sold 2 times the number of cinnamon plus 24. Okay, so if you look at that, this is our first choice. 2 times the number of cinnamon plus 24 equals 136. Okay, what other of these equations would be equal to this same concept? Well, now you're kind of looking at your properties. Look at the, symmetric property, commutative property, associative property. How do they rearrange this? Well, if you look at option 2 here, the only difference between 1 and 2 is they change the order of 2c plus 24. Well, that's the same thing. That's commutative property. Okay. Is this going to be the same 2c minus 136 is 24? No, that's not the same equation. 24c plus 2. Now they switched around the product. We want to multiply 2 by c and add 24. If we look at this example now, this example is really the same as the equation above. It's just the symmetric property. You switch the left and the right side of the equation. Symmetric property is always true. So this is the same. And then here 2c minus 24, 136. That's not the idea. We're going to add 24 to 2c according to the description here. So these 3 equations all represent this solution. Okay, write an equation with multiple variables. We're going to translate the sentence into a kind of a formula here. So it says the perimeter of a rectangle is twice the sum of the length and the width. Okay, the perimeter of a rectangle is twice the sum as the length and the width. So if you look at this, there's how many unknowns in this statement? Well, there's 3. We don't know the perimeter. We don't know the length. We don't know the width. So we're going to need to represent all 3 of these differently in this statement. So if we assign variables, we do it pretty straightforward. Let's let P be perimeter, L be length, W be width. Very straightforward. Okay. The givens and their relationship. So what are we given? Well, we're given that the perimeter is equal to twice the sum of the length and the width. So twice we know means times 2, and twice the sum of means you're going to add the first 2 together and then multiply by 2. Remember, twice the sum of is a grouping symbol concept, right? You're going to multiply 2 by the sum of. So you got to add, so parentheses around the 2 you're adding together, then multiply by 2. So if we write an equation to represent this, perimeter equals twice the sum of length plus width. Okay, that's how that would work out. Okay, some more of these. So now we have to write a sentence to represent this. There's a few different ways you can say it. I do it the most direct way possible. 1 less than, so 1 less than twice a number is 5. You could have said, very straightforward, 2 times z minus 1 equals 5. That works too, guys. This is maybe a little fancier way of doing it, but direct is the best. Okay, now the terminology here you got to be clear with. Okay, we just can't say 3 times y plus 1, because then you could just write 3 times y and then plus 1, and that's not the same thing. What do we want to write? 3 times the quantity of y plus 1 equals 12, or we could say 3 times the sum of y plus 1 equals 12. Either one of those, quantity or sum of, will get this grouped like this, and that's a key. We have to do that. How about this one? Okay, you got four choices. Which one is the correct choice? Well, if I was to say this, I would say it's the quantity of y plus 3 squared equals 25. Y plus 3 quantity squared is 25. That's the same thing. Y plus 3 quantity squared is 25. Y plus 3 squared is 25. See, the problem with this one is it doesn't force you to group the y and the 3. So you could just write y plus 3 squared equals 25 and not, then you would not be squaring the sum of these two. You'd just be squaring the 3. Y squared plus 3, now you just be squaring the y and not the 3. So the language is very important as to how we say it. Okay, so that's it for writing interpreting equations. You're going to have an assignment on the Alex website. Check the virtual classroom page for the homework information, but it is on Alex. You can always go to your online textbook, the McGraw-Hill. Go to this lesson. There'll be different examples. There'll be more information given if you need more help with it. Okay, I'll let you get at it.